Thank you. We know this is also the last session today, so let's kick it off. So,
yeah. My name is Mads Troelsgaard, and I'm CEO and co-founder of SynergyXR, and I'm super happy to be here today. I know it's late, and there's free drinks somewhere out there, I heard. So it's hard to compete with, but now we're here.
Yes. So I'm Yousof Alsatom, leading the innovation department in Bosch Digital and responsible to explore and scout new technologies. I mean, one of them is mixed reality, XR, and as well AI. So today we would like to share some experience about what we did there and how we collaborate together for our latest use cases. So some of you maybe knows already what Bosch is doing, or have maybe some Bosch, let's say, tools. Anyone has something at home, from Bosch products, probably, at least some. This is good. So Bosch is a 90 billion company, in terms of revenue, 417,000 employees worldwide, and it's like Bosch is also like a foundation, so it's not like stock listed. This is something also like very proud of, and whole money which we are like getting, we are reinvesting again for new products. So this is what Bosch is doing. I mean, it's very popular for the power tool or like home appliances, but automotive is 60% of our business. And how we started our journey. I mean, our journey with the XR or metaverse started a long time ago, around 9 years ago. We started also exploring things like HoloLens. We did a lot of experimentation on remote maintenance during COVID times. It's even explode because like you cannot go to the plants and provide support, or also like you need some training. This is the reason why I explored different use cases. We built up our metaverse lab in Berlin. Now we have one in Stuttgart. We are expanding this to different locations around the world. What we are doing there, so we have like one part is really for industrial metaverse, where we focus on full body tracking, especially for use cases related to collaboration, where you need maybe to work with suppliers in different countries, and also like we looked to different hardware on the AR area. And Mads, doing a lot of SynergyXR stuff with us.
Yeah. So SynergyXR is a no-code AR and VR platform built and designed for enterprises. We spent the last 7 years building this platform, and it's even built on a longer, over a decade of knowledge and experience, because the whole team at SynergyXR is the team behind Unity Studios. So we kind of have over 15 years of knowledge building stuff for enterprise XR. The platform today is a scalable platform for where you can build your own content, like trainings, onboardings, collaborations, digital shadows, and it's also a cross-platform. So we support all the big devices, we have full infrastructure as well. We work with some of the largest organizations all over the world. And we enable collaboration also for basically in between companies, of course, for scalability, but also for companies to collaborate between each other.
Yeah, and this is also like what's the start point when we start working together, because as a corporate, I mean, we have a lot of processes, we have, a lot of demand things related to, for example, single sign-on. We have, like IT infrastructure distributed in different countries and so on. And this was always, I say that kind of difficult to work and collaborate in general, especially in these new technologies. And this is not valid only for XR, but also like AI for everything new coming. As a corporate, first you have to look at it, you have to analyze it, you have to see how you can scale it. And I mean, as you see as well in the XR area, the hardware is like fragmented. You don't have like one platform. It's also is rapidly increasing the number of devices. If we look to, for example, to Meta, like almost every 1 or 2 years, you have a new device. So you have to look to it. Does it fit? Can you onboard it? And as well, I mean, depend on the country and where you are. I mean, Bosch as a German company, if we have, let's say, new technology, especially, you know, headset, you put it in your face. A lot of people asking them a question, why I should do it? What's the value? Is there really, you know, any kind of side effects, health stuff related? You know, like, is it like safe to use these things? So I would say there is always a lot of skepticism everywhere with the new technology. And XR, it has been the same for us. So we had always, you know, spend a lot of time convincing the people, showing them why we need this technology and what's the value of it.
Yeah, and to that I can also add. So it's like we see this in all the big companies, that they all struggle with the ownership inside the organizations. Where should it be, and who should have? Would it be in IT or another department? Where should we do it? How should we build the infrastructure and stuff like that? And that's what we have designed the solution surrounding. So we come out with a full infrastructure as well in SynergyXR out of box. Come out with security, of course, and compliance and all of that, the solid foundation that an enterprise needs for tackling this and making it a lot easier to integrate. Also the service and maintenance, because what we also have learned by working with enterprises over the many years is that when you build like applications, for example, in Unity or Unreal, of course, then you can build a platform, several kind of trainings, but some point your team is doing more service and maintenance on the applications that you actually built. So it is you're struggling with scaling because your team is becoming a bottleneck, and your team is not, you don't have an internal team, or should not build an internal team maybe for building XR solutions. So that's when you kind of look for platforms like SynergyXR. Of course, there's other platforms out there to look into, but we kind of focused on the enterprise sector with this. We support all the big headsets like Apple Vision Pro, Meta, HTC, Pico, all the big headset providers. But also we found out that for scaling out in an organization like this, you need to support PC and MacBooks as well, and iPhones and iPads. And it was quite interesting when we used to support HoloLens as well. But then when Microsoft discontinued that, we kind of stopped that, of course. But we made sure before we shut down for the HoloLens that everything you could do on the HoloLens, you could also do on the iPhones and iPads. And it was quite interesting to see that suddenly actually adoption went up quite fast, actually, on iPhones and iPads. And I think this is a natural thing because of the skepticism for new technologies and wearables and stuff like that. So we need to build a bridge to these technologies, and we have to do that through the devices that people know and feel comfortable and safe with using, right? So this has been an interesting journey today. So for example, VR headsets and PC is on our platform at the same level of adoption, or the same usage. It's quite interesting. And then mobile phones as the next one. It's like, it's really, really, really interesting. But one thing is, of course, the foundation. Then always have a great team, strong team to carry this out. And that's what we have at Bosch here. One of them is Saleh that we saw on the picture with the Apple Vision Pro on. But Bosch has a centralized team in Stuttgart that has the ownership inside the organization and makes it possible for scaling out inside the organization. So it's not like us at SynergyXR or external consultants coming in and helping implementing these technologies in these organizations. No, it's colleagues that teaching other colleagues, and I think this is super important for mass adoption inside the organizations. Have a team that is trustworthy for your colleagues. It's not people that's trying to sell them anything. And then enabling them with super tools so they are empowered to build way faster than they used to, and quickly make changes in organizations, for example, in trainings. So we have a tool called Procedure Builder, where you can build interactive, complex trainings, but in no code, so it's drag and drop features. And in this, you can build quite complex trainings, but then if there is an update, so maybe something happens on the factory floor and you need to make a change in there. So before you had to open Unity or Unreal, go in, open the project, make the changes, which could easily take a week, and then deploy it and send it out and make sure it's updated everywhere on all the different headsets. You can do that within half an hour today, or a couple of hours at least, and then update it so all the headsets actually have it at once, the full update. So it's just made super simple and easy, and which create that scalability that you need to have. Then we have some other tools like environment, so you can build your own environments. So this is actually Bosch employees that has built these kind of onboarding experiences and collaborative spaces. But it's your own team in Stuttgart that has built this. Actually, not only Stuttgart, it's like
it's the fragmented. I mean, I would say this is like really our biggest learning from the collaboration with SynergyXR, having like in the company, in the corporate, a team can understand the technology and the scale. It is much faster for the adoption, because every time, like why I should work with an external company, or, you start some discussions and then you stop that. But if you have a platform where you can build yourself and extend it and scale it, it is much faster for the organization to adopt a new, let's say, technologies. And now in the case with the XR.
Yeah, and I can add, of course, it's not like you can build, everything on different on one platform. There's probably other use cases as well. But if you can cover like 60 or 80% of some of the needs, and then you still need the Unity developers and Unreal developers, you can focus them on the really hardcore stuff, like some really complex stuff, and make that available, and look into maybe other platforms that does like more specific stuff around. But I think it's just what we need right now, where we are in this XR journey. We need scalability at a totally different level that we've seen before. And so these tools enable us to actually get there way faster and way easier and way cheaper.
Yeah, and like having such a platform made it for us much easier to test different use cases. If you look at a company like Bosch doing manufacturing, I mean, training is a very important use case. If we look to remote maintenance and remote support is very important, because you want to transfer the knowledge from A to B. So this is like a big problem, and organization has like a footprint everywhere around the world. If we look to things related to even onboarding of the new employees is very important, especially on the time now with the remote work. You don't have the people everywhere, let's say on site. So giving them like a headset, you send it as a part of the onboarding package. Then they can have like virtual visits to the location. All of these things is like also strengthen the relationship between employee and company. It is very interesting experience for us when we started also like posting more and more as a corporate on this topic of let's say metaverse or XR in LinkedIn or like other social media. We started getting a strong pull from different like young talents. They are interested to work let's say for Bosch in IT department, or let's say working also like in these new technologies. So before maybe like you have job posts and you get, I don't know, let's say X with using this technology as an enabler for branding the company that we are using them. It's helped actually to get even more talents on board. One of the main things is like for us as well as a use case is the product knowledge. Like you have a lot of knowledge, you have to bring it to the VR, and then you can scale it and you can ship, let's say, this knowledge everywhere around the world. And collaboration, we did a lot of work on the collaboration part. So we are designing the production lines for our plants, and we are working with different suppliers. So suppliers from China, from Japan, from everywhere. And sometimes, the collaboration with the supplier, I mean, supplier just provide us something, costs maybe $50,000 or $100,000. Not, I mean, a lot of money if you need to send 3 or 5 people to the, let's say, to the partner or supplier. This will cost a lot of money. So we cut it dramatically the travel cost with this. So we don't say everything in VR, we say always hybrid. The advantage of that, it's also like we reduce the time to market. So instead of, like going on site, talk to the people, and then design let's say the product and sign it. Now you can just do it in VR, and this has also reduced the retrofit, which we had as a big problem before in our designing a new production lines. I mean, saying also that for all of these type of use cases, we need a lot of startups to work with. I mean, one of them, SynergyXR, and we have like within the Bosch organization, kind of, let's say, our standard method for that. We have the Robert Bosch Venture Capital, where we are investing directly in some startups. The other part's called Open Bosch, where we do scouting, look to the best on the class of, let's say, of a platform or like a solution, and we do our benchmarking, and then we decide to work with one of them. And after we are doing that, like usually we are doing a proof of concept, where we get in details about like, how we collaborate, what's the collaboration model. We found as well, working, I mean, for startups, working with corporates is always frustrating. I mean, corporates very slow, it takes a lot of time. They pay, but takes long, and all of these things, yeah. And this is the reason why we did this process, just really to accelerate working with the startups. And we are learning a lot with the startups, so we are really always happy to work and collaborate with different startups. Yeah, I mean,
if you could go back, I can add something to that journey, because what we experience is definitely not all companies have like a department like Open Bosch that embraces partnerships with startups. So, but that's all they focus on, and I think this has been a really good process. And I'll only recommend all enterprises to look into something like that, where you have a unit that actually is capable of running these projects in, because we also have seen other big organizations. That's the classic way. So before you actually have to go in, you do have to do a full IT assessment, and then we have to look into the whole legal contracting and procurement. And this can just slow all processes down and kill all momentum in an organization. So doing it this way, then we actually get the possibility in and see, does our technology make a difference? Does it bring value to the organization before we start any IT assessments or integrations? Because this will save the company, and both like the big organization, but also the startup, a lot of time. If we can approve, is this technology bringing value to the company? Is it is, yes, then let's go into it. And then with Bosch, it's been like, we have a track, because yes, we have approved it. Of course, we will get it worked out with the IT, and of course also with the legal and procurement team. So after the first prototyping of projects, then we started a process in parallel with IT, a whole IT track. And this has taken a year to enable, but now we have proved we got all the tick marks, and now it can be rolled out globally to all 400,000 employees, right? And then also, then we can continue the different tracks in parallel, while the internal team can develop and start, creating value. And I think this process is really inspired. Other companies should be really inspired by this, because I think it's the right approach. So that's what we're also preaching to others when they want to start this. It's a really good journey and a good experience for the startups as well.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, always, everyone like how the future look like and what will happen in 10 years. No one knows actually. There's no answer for that. But what we started looking how we can integrate XR and AI, and for sure everyone's talking about AI and them using LLM or maybe other things, but we try to put it in a place to consolidate a lot of information, put it inside, and let's say intelligent avatar and answering questions.
Hey,
so,
Hannah,
so this is an example what we are doing. For example,
you see the blade jack production plant Hall 202. Hall 202 is about 1.000 square feet in size, and in this hall, mainly automotive-related parts are manufactured in a 21-shift system.
Hey Hannah, can you tell me about last night's shift?
During last night's shift, machine number 215 experienced a major issue with the hydraulics, which negatively affected its OEE performance. The overall OEE performance for production line 16 in the last 7 days was 97.18%, exceeding the target performance of 80%.
Yeah, so this is, like just an example
Can you
how
suggest
the whole
improvements?
technology is, like evolving at the moment. And this is just, experimentation, like, is this make sense? And when we develop such a thing, we bring it to different stakeholders and try to get feedback from them, because maybe this can be the right thing or maybe the wrong thing. But we see there is like a huge interest from corporate point of view on, let's say, mixed reality glasses, or like we say, glasses where you have also like strong VR and AR together. I mean, such a glasses, like thin one, which have maybe some AR, also like very interesting. And also we are looking in this direction.
Yeah, and on our side, let's see. Yeah, let's start. Yeah. So of course we're also looking into this, but when you have a broad platform, you need to like choose a technology that multiple customers is looking into. So that's why we are also working together on the virtual avatars here. Concerning also content, like creation is a huge thing that we're looking into. So using like AI for generating 3D models like we see over here. So it goes pretty slow here, but in this one, but naturally we will know that this will take up. It will go a lot faster in the future. But here, one of our developers asked for a handsome man with a VR headset, and then it creates a handsome man with a VR headset. But this kind of, it's a classic developer thing, I guess. But that you can now create 3D models from AI and just text from prompts or speech to text. I think that's or speech to 3D model, of course, is super important, because content is king still, and it will be in many years within our domain here. So being able to create content and creating tools for enterprises for faster development of content. Of course, it needs to be content that is actually bringing value. And Jenny Taylor from the session we just heard together with Volvo over at the what's it called, the education stage, she also said, if focus on the problem, focus on the not the technology, but the use cases. That what problem am I trying to solve, and we will always support that fully. And we also can say that if it's not easy, it will never be implemented with success in our organization. So it needs to be easy as well. Of other things that we're looking into, I can just say that we're looking very much into integrations as well. One thing, of course, integration with AI, other AI systems, scanner applications, but also PLM tools or something like that is super interesting for us. Again, to enable content creation. So that's really good. Yeah. Any questions? So we have 50 seconds left, but it's the last session, so I think we can take a little longer time.
I have a question. Sure. Based on your experience with startups, what are the main drivers for startups to get in the wagon of mixed reality or metaverse or these technologies? What are the drivers?
Is that for Boss?
Both. I would like both opinions.
Sorry, again. So, like, what's the questions? Like, how would the driver? So I didn't get really.
What are the drivers for startup or SMEs to get into the bandwagon of mixed reality or augmented reality or metaverse in these type of projects?
Yeah, I mean, for these type of projects, I would say that, like a driver to work with with corporates or like work in general on these technologies, I think it's very important. It's like the part, to solve existing issues. I mean, we have a lot of challenges in terms of sustainability, CO2 footprint, all of these things, challenges for us. So like if you look that, what should be the drivers for startups, I would say that one thing is really having, let's say, problem which exists, which we are trying to solve. So the driver shouldn't be, like that, just doing tech because it's tech and it is nice, but really to solve problem. Today we have main issues for us in the industry is time to market, efficiency, and cost. Like imagine, producing a car takes usually 5 years. This was history. Now, like every 2 years, we are getting maybe a new car in China, or even faster every 1 year. So all of these challenges is like, a driver for startups or like SMEs, and we need support for, these challenges. And one of them, for example, like using the mixed reality for education, for training, and so on.
Yeah, and for our side, it's just, of course, we would like to work with big corporates. Of course, that's where the huge potential is, especially when you design a platform for scalability, who has the potential for scalability, right? So, but we also know that it's time consuming to target big enterprises. And so it demands that you have the strength to do that, of course. But it's where we, it just has huge potential to going in there. And also I can add to from the corporate side, working, you can't find those solutions maybe with Microsoft or Meta, and because they all focus on their own individual platforms where startups can go in and, make them all work together in one platform, where they're more defensive on their each individual platforms. I think that's a big difference.
Thank you very much for a great presentation. I'm also impressed with the startup ecosystem that Bosch is encouraging, also the diversity of your program, from collaboration to training to product knowledge and so on. I was wondering, in terms of the use of AI for personalization, not just for generating content. If you look into ways in which you can make not only these experiences more immersive, but more like human-like interactions, so as opposed to pop-down menus and drop-downs, to actually use more like voice and natural interactions. And then for these avatars, if they have certain personas or behaviors or emotions that are part of like normal human interaction. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. Great question. I mean, for sure, now we are in a very early stage of adopting AI with mixed reality in general. For sure, like as much as we make the application convenient, more personalized, the more that we have acceptance from the users. So this is something for us very important. I believe personally that we are like, with the AI, even we will have more kind of personalized applications, personalized even maybe operating systems, even maybe the operating system which we have today, they will look different. We are, as a human, we interact with this part, which is for us very important. I mean, conversation, speech is a very important thing. And we are also like looking exactly in this direction. So like, as you see that you just speak and then the avatar answer. Now, as a global company, we are looking really much to like details of kind of different personas for different countries. I mean, the way Japanese greeting is different, like from the people from England, or like from the US. The way also the tone, if you are talking maybe to sales people, it's different. If you are talking to engineers, you can just, like be yourself and talk. In sales, maybe you have to think maybe sometimes 2-3 times before what's the next sentence should be. So all of these things, different personas, we are considering that to have profiles or avatars, which is fit for different use cases.
Hello. So I guess within my firm, I work at an engineering consultancy firm, and we're kind of beyond that startup phase. We're now in kind of like rollout phase, scaling it. And so my question to you is, do you have any tips for encouraging VR adoption in firms that are resistant to change? Although, I'm finding that even with strong evidence like time savings, better visualization, and good client feedback, still many of my engineers are still like reluctant to put on a headset. So do you guys have any tips or tricks?
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing this yesterday, actually. In my opinion, one part is like why we still not adopting VR that quick, because we can still afford it to do it in the, let's say, classical way, if you like. So this is one element. The other part, the usage of VR is like always, you know, like you have this kind of 20-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute maximum, and then you can, you know, like you have to stop the experience until you get to the next level. So I think VR is proven. We proved that by numbers that VR in training saved 30%. This is no doubt. We went through a lot of use cases. The problem is, you know, like rolling out, this means that you need a device. Let's say in a corporate, you need a device, you need a vendor, you need device management, you need all the other things, which is like typical IT things. And when you start doing that, then, you know, the next device is coming. So this whole thing is emerging. And, you know, VR, in my opinion, still is great for certain use cases, but maybe, you know, other hardware class can be useful for day-to-day use cases, or like where now we see, for example, HoloLens discontinued. Then we have, you know, Magic Leap has some also like, I mean, great product, but you know that we don't see like a next product is coming. So I think now everyone is waiting then this next product, which maybe, you know, like is easy to use and where can adapt. I don't have, you know, like tips and tricks, to be frank, you know, like how to do that, but I think if I would start with any VR related thing, is always for me training, very obvious thing, because this is always work and 100% proven there's a value.
Yeah, I think what we have seen really work in those different organizations is that use the basic platforms like PC and Macs and iPhones and iPads as the bridge into this. That's where we're seeing like faster adoption of these technologies, and then also making it actually mandatory in some of the trainings. So if you have to go through like 10 modules, and maybe the first 2 is like you know, basic e-learning, and then module 3 is a VR. Maybe it's like a PC version of an onboarding, and maybe module 4 is the VR version, and then force people to try it out, but maybe first on the PC, so they learn their interactions. So you have the same interactions and way to interact, and then when they get into the VR headset, they kind of, what we see is it's working. You know, they kind of understand it once they're in there, but it's so hard to get them to wear the headset the first time. But there are all these small tricks, I would say, and then yes, make it as simple as possible, really, really as simple as possible. We started out, so we also work with Novo Nordisk, for example, and in here we took one of the use cases, because some of them were older people that had to do some kind of training, so we made it possible so they could just click on the stuff and then see their interactions. Then animations will just happen and they see the process. And then the next time they went in there, now they had to grab it and do it themselves. So these kind of small steps is important when you're trying to get people to adopt the technology. But I think it's important to make it as simple as possible. That's where we've seen the best adoption. And then try to get colleagues, find the super users in the organizations. That is a really good trick as well. We also had like a box of where was it, the kind of VR station where it was hanging VR headsets on this, and then place it in the canteen in the organizations, so people could go, and there was like simple step, 3-step how to get started with an experience. So people in the breaks could go and try it out and get familiar with it. It's also something that can help. So it's small things, it's making available. I think it's a good thing to do.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this insightful conversation. Let's give them another round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you much. Thank you.